In the headlines, internally displaced persons in Borno State are angry over plans to integrate repentant Boko Haram fighters. President Muhammadu Buhari returns home after 18 days UK trip. Church urges INEC to make adequate security arrangements for 2023 elections. And on the foreign scene, United States Department of Homeland Security issues new terror threat warnings. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I'm Aisha Salihu. For more news, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Trust TV News and follow us across all of our social media platforms on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. The decision by the Borno State government to reintegrate over 1,000 repentant Boko Haram fighters into the society has generated annoyance by some internally displaced persons in the northeast. The IDP's anger is based on the fact that they are still languishing in pain and sorrow caused by the activities of the Boko Haram terrorists in the northeast, particularly in Borno State, the epicenter of the insurgency. Since its campaign to create an Islamic caliphate started around 2009, the Boko Haram sect has reportedly killed over 70,000 people and displaced about 2.5 million people, according to estimates by the International Crisis Group. Of the displaced, at least 250,000 have reportedly left Nigeria and fled into the neighboring countries of Cameroon, Chad, and Niger, though Borno State has started receiving some repatriated refugees from the countries. President Muhammadu Buhari has returned to Abuja after joining world leaders in making firm commitment to increase funding for education sector at the recent Global Education Summit in London, the United Kingdom. The Global Education Summit, co-hosted by the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya, successfully generated about $4 billion out of the targeted $5 billion for the transformation of the education sector in low-income countries, including Nigeria. President Buhari and Boris Johnson, during the bilateral talks, appraised the war against different forms of terrorism in Nigeria and agreed that the judicial process be allowed to run its course.
Well, it was not strictly for medical checkup. You remember that the earlier part of the trip was to attend the Global Partnership on Education Summit, and then he stayed back for another 2 weeks for routine medical checkup. We had earlier announced it that there was nothing to worry about, that it was just routine. So he's back. But like the Yorubas will say, and I believe the other parts of the country also have that saying, that there is no small journey. Any journey you embark on and you come back, you should thank God for it. So we are glad that he's back.
The president also used the opportunity of the trip to spend a few days for his medical checkup. As the 2023 general elections draw closer, the Presbyterian Church of Nigeria has asked the government to improve security so the elections can hold in a safe environment. This was as the Independent National Electoral Commission dissociated itself from a fake continuous voters registration online portal, saying it had not accredited any agency or organization to capture details of voters on its behalf. Due to insecurity ravaging most parts of the country, the Presbyterian Church said if care was not taken, the 2023 elections might not hold. The church also declared a 30-day prayer session beginning from Sunday, August the 15th, for the release of victims held by bandits, kidnappers, and insurgents nationwide. A Kaduna-based civil rights activist and former senator in the 9th Assembly, Shehu Sani, says problems facing the country can be addressed through collective efforts, noting that politicians alone cannot solve all the problems. Featuring on Trust TV's Current Affairs program, Shehu Sani noted that the media cannot be exonerated from the problems the country faces.
Between report and opinion. Opinion of a paper and editorial direction of a paper is very clear. Many of you are as unprincipled as politicians are unprincipled. That is a fact. Well, what you have said is very clear. The nation is on a free fall. There is clear case of security paralysis in the northern part of Nigeria. Children, women have been abducted, villages have been razed, bandits have become a state within a state. People have been impoverished, selling their homes and farms in order to pay ransom to kidnappers. We are under siege. I come from a state where today we have 23 local governments. The safest of them are two, the metropolitan Kaduna North and Kaduna South. You can't even move outside of the state. Once it is 6 p.m., you are most likely to get into the hands of bandits. But the political class in Nigeria are actually more interested in preserving their political power than rescuing the people from the situation in which they have found themselves. And that is not, that nobody can controvert that. But how do we change that? We can only change that by participating in it and continuously sensitizing, conscientizing the people to do what is right when it comes to voting the right people into government. I think that is what needs to be done.
Watch out for the full interview on Trust TV. 5 persons have been killed when hoodlums invaded in Zobe Police Divisional Headquarters in Oguta local government area of Imo State. It was reported that while 2 policemen on duty were shot dead, 3 of the invaders also lost their lives. The attackers, whose plan was to bomb the station, engaged the cops in a gun duel, which resulted in loss of lives. The police spokesperson for the command, Michael Abatam, confirmed that the attack and added that 5 persons, which included 2 cops and 3 hoodlums, died in the attack. Coming up after the break, cholera disease outbreak ravages Plateau State. Do stay with us.
My name is Samuel Dada. Yakubu Isa, ana mana kabi da jeji.
Aminu Musa.
Stephen Umaru. A wannan harkar ce muke dan samun abinci, har muke taimaka mu wasu da yawa.
Looking for private jobs. Sometimes you get employed and the process of payment, you undergo some kind of stress.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the Trust TV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search Trust TV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. You're watching Trust TV News Update. Here is a quick recap of some of our top stories. Internally displaced persons in Borno State are angry over plans to integrate repentant Boko Haram fighters. President Muhammadu Buhari returns home after 18 days United Kingdom trip. And now to more stories. The cholera disease outbreak ravaging communities in Plateau State as the state records 28 new deaths and 1,415 cases on Thursday. Daily Trust correspondent Dixon Adama gives an update on the situation.
It is no more news that prevailing number of cholera cases on the plateau is alarming, particularly in 2 local governments of all the 70 local government areas, which are Jos South and Jos North. According to Daniel Number Lipstick, the Plateau State House of Assembly chairman on health, said between May and July this year, at about 1,415 cases were reported, while 28 deaths were also reported. So, while people are busy concentrating on COVID-19, the cholera outbreak is ravaging many communities on the plateau. and people have been dying. So many cases and so many hospitals have been flooded. The problem now is what is to be done, and the key thing is awareness. So many people are not taking precaution, they are not even aware, and so many people have been living unhealthy lifestyles. However, there are success cases of some survivors who were able to come out alive. And Trust TV spoke with some of them who shared their experiences. And part of what they said was that timely treatment as well as taking of oral rehabilitation therapy was what saved their lives. But in all of this, concentrated efforts need to be done so that lives will be saved. And those people who don't know about it will know about it and take precautionary measures.
Still talking about diseases in the country, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control has disclosed that 11 patients died in Nigeria from coronavirus on Friday. The NCDC, which made this known via its verified website, said the country's fatality toll from the pandemic now stood at 2,211. The agency added that the country logged 636 additional infections on Friday, 117 fewer than the 753 cases recorded on Thursday. COVID-19 cumulative cases now stand at 181,297. According to the NCDC, the additional 636 infections were confirmed in 16 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. The NCDC put the total recoveries nationwide since the onset of the pandemic at 166,709. Away from the diseases in the country, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has described the late widow, Hajia Hadiza Shehu Shagari, as a woman of integrity whose virtues will forever be remembered. Malami is in Sokoto on a condolence visit to the families of late President Shehu Shagari over the death of Hajia Hadiza Shehu Shagari. He prayed Allah to grant eternal rest to the deceased and give the families the fortitude to bear the loss. Representative of the family who received the minister at the residence, Alhaji Ahmad Shehu Shagari, thanked the minister for his care and concern demonstrated through condolence visit to the family. Nigerians continue to pay tributes to the retired Federal Permanent Secretary, Ahmed Joda, who died on Friday evening. The elder statesman passed on at the Federal Medical Center, Yola, at Damawa State, where he spent 1 week on admission. He was buried at the Yola Cemetery in accordance with Islamic rites. He is survived by 4 children, among them a humanitarian Asma'u Joda, Bilkisu, Aliyu, and Abubakar. During an interview, Asma'u told Daily Trust Saturday in an emotion-laden voice that she missed everything about her father because he meant everything to her and the family. Also, Abubakar Joda described his father as a statesman who'd sacrificed so much to make Nigeria great. Niger State Commissioner for Information, Mohammed Idris, says he has forgiven his abductors after his release from captivity on Thursday. He was released around 9:30 p.m. at a location in Suleja and taken to a hospital for medicals. Idris was abducted from his residence at Babantunga village in Tafa local government area on Monday. Speaking after regaining freedom, the official narrated his audio and revealed why he was abducted. Idris disclosed that the assailants came from Zamfara State and were not familiar with the Suleja terrain. According to him, someone gave them money to carry out the attack, thinking Governor Sani Bello allocates 200 million naira to his office every month. The state government insists no ransom was paid to secure Idris from the kidnappers.
All available doors in the house, and they took me to a no man's land, the middle of nowhere, and I was there exposed to the rains for 48 hours with neither food nor water given to me, with my hands and legs tied, and just to break me. But in the long run, God was there for me, and I was able to remain focused. I was able to remain sane, and we thank God for that favor.
And in business news, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohammed Nanono, has called on stakeholders in the seed industry to ensure effective implementation of the Plant Variety Protection (PVP) Act 2021. Nanono made the call in Abuja at the unveiling of the PVP Act for the Northern Region. The report.
The PVP Act 2021 is a legal framework designed to protect plant breeders. It is also an intellectual property protection law that helps encourage plant breeders and other stakeholders in the planting industry by granting them intellectual property right over their material. The minister, who noted that effective implementation of the act was needed to develop superior plant varieties with high yield potential, said this was critical to ensuring food security in the country. Nanano commended the National Assembly and President Muhammadu Buhari for signing the PVP bill into law. He also urged the National Agricultural Seeds Council, NASC, and players in the food and agriculture seeds ecosystem to ensure that critical aspects of the bill were implemented.
It is very important that this Seed Protection Act is diligently followed and implemented. And on a regular basis, we should engage all the stakeholders in this business, discuss and review what has happened in the past and make strategy of what is going to go for the future.
For his part, the sponsor of the bill, Munir Dang Agudi, said that the importance of plant variety could not be overemphasized as Nigeria was still threatened by poor yields, soil degradation, emerging and traditional pest diseases. The lawmaker, who is also the chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Agri-Colleges and Institutions, described the unveiling of the PVP Act as a milestone.
Concerned efforts should be made by our breeders to make crosses and use advanced techniques and biotechnology to develop varieties.
In his remarks, the Director General of NASC, Dr. Philip Ojo, said Nigeria's agricultural sector transformation was a significant reason for the country to pay attention to the PVP Act. According to him, the Act will incentivize national and multinational agribusiness investments in the country.
We soon begin to see on our farmers' fields superior yields, pest tolerance, disease resistance, climate smart, input efficient varieties that will be introduced by our innovative breeders, both from public and private sector, in few years to come.
He also said that the NASC had commenced action to set up a functional PVP office to receive and process applications for the granting of plant variety protection rights in Nigeria from anywhere in the world.
We begin to witness efficient land use and reduce food costs as a result of increased productivity from cultivated hectares across the country.
The Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Economic Summit Group, Laye Jayola, represented by Gloria Ekpo, emphasized the need for resilient seed regulations.
We must add to the sense of urgency to strengthen partnerships for resilient seeds regulations through catalytic investments into the seed sector. Look at tackling high level of insecurity for sustainable and inclusive seed systems and agricultural transformation in Nigeria.
Still talking about agricultural development, farmers have been asked to go into flour production as it is economically viable and in demand at the international market. The call was made by the Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong in the state. Governor Lalong, who spoke while meeting with some French investors in Jos after a two-day visit, said his administration is determined to return the state to the export of flowers, which was popular in the 70s and the 80s. Lalong said with the designation of the Yakubu Gowon Airport as a cargo airport, the export of flowers will be seamless and that it will be complemented by the nearby inland container terminal, which is being activated. In his remarks, the leader of the French team, Yann Fortunatus, said after their visit, which took them to 6 local government areas of the state, they were convinced by the enormous potentials of the state in agriculture, which needs to be developed through mechanization and improved practices. Away from Nigeria, the United States Department of Homeland Security has issued a new terrorism threat advisory ahead of the anniversary of the September 11 terror attacks amid a resurgence of the coronavirus pandemic. The National Terrorism Advisory System said the United States faces a heightened threat environment from both domestic terrorists and those inspired or motivated by foreign terrorists and other malign foreign influences. It cited increased use of online forums to influence and spread violent extremist narratives and promote violent activity. Finally, in sports news, after 74 years away from top-flight football, Brentford FC announced their presence with a 2-0 thumping of an Arsenal side that was likely loose in coordination but mainly blunt in attack. The English Premier League has started with the home fans baying throughout. The rest of the over 14,000 spectators didn't count. And that wraps up Trust TV News Updates. Don't forget to follow us across all of our social media platforms for more news. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thanks for joining us.